What if composition didn't feel confusing and you could look at a scene and instantly know what to do? That's what today is all about. In the last video, we talked about how composition is about relationships, like balance and visual weight and framing or depth. Today, I want to give you a few simple tools to help you see those relationships faster. Not rules you have to memorize, but visual tools you can visualize in your mind and use for the rest of your creative life. These are the tools I come back to over and over again, even after years of photography. Let's start with the most well-known one, the rule of thirds, like tic-tac-toe, right? But I want you to think of this differently. It's not a rule, it's a starting point. Placing your subject slightly off-center often feels more natural and more dynamic. The goal is to place your subject or center of interest on the intersection of the lines, like this. But sometimes centered works beautifully too, so don't follow this blindly, use it as a guide. Similar to this is the golden ratio. They say that the human body and hundreds of things in nature are designed in this ratio. It's based in mathematics. It appears very similar to the rule of thirds, but in narrower center segments. Following the same concept, use the intersection for placement of your subject for the best balance. Tool number 2 is leading lines. These are the lines in your image that guide the viewer's eyes, like roads or fences, shadows or architecture. When you use leading lines, you're literally telling the viewer where to look, and that creates clarity. Often the leading lines are diagonal, which creates energy and more dynamic image. So let me show you the golden triangle with perpendicular legs going off axis. Are you starting to see a pattern here? Tool number 3 is negative space. This is the space around your subject. Most people are afraid to use it, but negative space gives your subject room to breathe. It creates simplicity and often emotion. But where should you place that one subject for perfect balance in a lot of open space? This is one of my favorites, the Fibonacci sequence. It looks like this, and you should see this design all through nature, the way things grow, like shells and ferns and seeds. It's all based in a bunch of cool math, and it's God's fantastic design. But before you start glazing over with this concept and all these patterns and shapes, let me show you how powerful and beautiful this is, and how easy it is to visualize with my composition tool. So take a look at this. If I take all the designs and layer them into one image, it looks like this. And here are the PowerPoints. File this image away in your brain, and you are instantly going to know where to place your subject and have amazing composition. I just spent the weekend in Lake Tahoe at a women's retreat, and on the way home I drove around the entire lake and photographed all day long. Here are some of my favorites, and I shot every one with my composition tool in my mind, positioning the rocks and the shoreline strategically. What a confidence booster! So tool number 4 is layering. This builds on what we talked about last week with depth, leveraging the foreground and the midground and the background. But here, we're thinking more intentionally about storytelling, like this. It's framed by foreground elements. When you layer the elements, your image becomes more than a snapshot. It becomes a scene. So now you have 4 powerful tools: the rule of thirds or golden ratio, leading lines and the golden triangle, negative space and the Fibonacci sequence, also known as the golden mean, and then layering. And all of these patterns are represented in this one visual overlay. So don't worry about memorizing these terms. Just visualize this composition tool. This one visual will help you see faster and compose with confidence. You don't need to use all of them in every photo. In fact, most strong images just use 1 or 2 really well. So here's your assignment. This week, I want you to go out and try this. Take 4 photos, each one focused on just one tool: the rule of thirds, leading lines, negative space, and layering. In every case, be sure to visualize your composition tool in your mind and just notice how it changes the way you see. I'll see you back here next weekend, and until then, visualize your art and create with confidence. There's a little bird nest in the top of my studio every year a little woodpecker, builds a nest and it's full of little babies. And they had been squeaking and squawking this entire time. Hopefully, it didn't disturb my video.